Salutations, sleuths. I'm Gina.
I'm Maria.
And we are
Fortuited.
Boom!
Them a pig.
Right, like I feel like my generation and older will get it.
Yes.
That'll do, pig.
Right.
But there's some people I think my age and younger that will be
will not.
like,
The fuck did you
what
say to me?
what are you calling me? What is immediately triggered?
Yes.
I would love to be sponsored by that brand. I believe it's a Dad Apparel.
Oh.
They have like a whole bunch of other like cool sayings and hats, and it would be super awesome to like strike a deal with them.
Did you guys get any merch made? Weren't you going to have some merch made?
Yeah, I haven't made any yet, but we've got the logo made thanks to Vic's brother. He helped out with that.
I saw that.
So we got
super
that
cool.
going, and then I either want to invest in a Cricut myself and then kind of like do some stuff just to like start off.
Yeah.
Or another one of our friends, which happens to be like the girlfriend of the guy who helped us make the logo.
Okay.
She works at like a print place, so we can like get deals through her and her company.
Okay.
For like, bulk stuff.
So we have a heat press, not a Cricut.
Okay.
If you want to use the heat press, you're welcome to it.
Okay.
It's not super hard. Well, I'm not great at using it because you have to you got to get the timing right of like how hot it has to be, how long you leave it on the shirt, flip it over, do all that kind of stuff. I fucked up 2 shirts and I'm like, I'm done. The first one, before we got the heat press, I put the iron over instead of like we have like the B-Fit stuff for Brian's company, and instead of cutting or taking off all of the like vinyl around the letters, I did the whole thing thinking that you pulled it off afterwards.
Oh no.
No. So I have a shirt that has like a hello, my name is big white rectangle of vinyl across my tits. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm done here. I'm wasting I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting money, I'm done.
And shirts, yeah.
Yes. But we have a heat press. If you want to give it a shot and you get a Cricut, you're welcome to use it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. My sister asked me to recruit help for her wedding, because it's next week, which when this comes out, it will be the day before her wedding.
Okay.
So this will come out October 3rd.
Okay.
Which will be right before her wedding. So she has like this big welcome mirror.
Okay.
And she wanted to put, I guess, vinyl signage on it.
Yeah.
And so she's like, Maria, can you ask one of your artistic friends to like put this on for me?
Yeah.
And so we got Olivia to like come over and
Nice.
put it on. And it looks really great.
That's awesome.
So I think we'll just, get Olivia to help us with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Find somebody who's artsy fartsy.
And she is. Yeah, she's got like her own booth set up in a store, like a permanent booth in a store.
Nice.
Yeah. Painted tree on Maplewood.
Yeah, there's also a painted tree off of Manchester. I've been dying to go into it, and I have yet to go in. But whenever I heard what it was, that you could like rent your little space.
Yeah.
There's got to be local people, obviously, and all kinds of different things to
Right.
look at in there. But I've yet to go in there. I didn't know there was another location.
Yeah, I think so. The one in Maplewood is new.
Okay.
And I wish they would call it something else, because when I hear painted tree, I think of like the pottery painting stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, it's a bunch of booths and all kinds of local artists. And so, yeah, I haven't gone and checked it out, but I've gone into like all her other booths that she has set up at other places.
Yeah.
And then some of her stuff is on my gallery wall.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, very artistic.
Love it.
All right. So we have Emily on today with us. Thank you, Emily, for coming on.
You're welcome.
Emily is another boxing friend.
Yes.
So I've had 3 boxing friends on. We have James, Stephanie, and now we have Emily. And we all would hang out together.
That is right. And I was trying to think on the way over here, Doherty Ferry or Creve Coeur, when did we meet?
We met, I didn't go to Doherty Ferry.
Okay.
I thought we just met in Baldwin.
Okay. And then maybe you just taught a couple classes in Creve Coeur. Because we need to go to Creve Coeur for a meal.
Oh, yeah. So I would do
Mondays.
like some special classes at Creve Coeur, and then I would take a Creve Coeur while it was open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I remember when you guys were first starting coming in, we called you guys the power couple.
Yeah.
Because you guys would always come in together. You would get bags right next to each other. And like in between burpees, you would do like a burpee, come up, kiss. Burpee, come up, kiss. Like
Yeah. That's us. We still do some of that today.
But yeah, I just remember like everyone, all the trainers and front desk knew you guys as the power couple.
Yeah. Those
Very
were the
cutesy.
days.
Yeah. Ballin' days were a lot of fun.
A
Stephanie and
lot
I
of fun.
reminiscent on it a lot in our
Yes.
episode, which will be out this Thursday.
Yeah. Were you around for COVID still? The COVID Saturdays?
No.
Or no? Okay.
So during COVID, like we had moved out to the city and it was like such a
Okay.
drive and
That's right. Because you used to be literally right down the
Across
street.
the street,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
and then when we moved, it was just, it was a lot of effort and I could do the like virtual classes like from my house, or I did like the recordings like from my house.
Yeah. Not worth the money to drive.
I would be driving more than I would be there.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but yes.
I knew.
When I lived across the street, it was different.
Yes.
When you're farther out and it takes more effort, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just reprioritize.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, so today we are going to do a little faith and humanity restoration
Yes.
because it's always needed. And so Emily and I each brought like some feel good stories. I wanted to like do spooky stuff because this is the first October episode, but Emily is. Are you afraid of ghosts?
I am just not a Halloween person
Really?
at all. Like, I am the person, we're going to take Blaine and some of his friends to Six Flags for Fright Fest.
Yeah.
And my sister told me that if you wear glow sticks, like the people walking around masked up know to stay away from you. So I literally ordered like a bulk
A neon.
shipment of glow sticks.
I'm just going as a giant glow stick. Don't touch me.
Do not touch me. If you do, you will see my hands. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I think it's, I've never been like a fan of scary movies or anything like that as a kid. And I think the older I've gotten, now it's like my mind is fucked up of who is behind that mask. Like, are they really playing along with Halloween and just here for that? Or is
Yeah.
it really like some creep that's going to take me? I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like any of it.
Well, you had like John Wayne Gacy kind of ruin some of that, He was
Yeah.
a, happy-go-lucky clown that wasn't so happy-go-lucky.
Right.
So that, now clowns are scary.
Exactly.
I mean, the movie It also made them scary.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like now it's a lot more nefarious. But Fright Fest wasn't too bad. I am not a fan of going to the haunted houses. I've
No.
never been, and I have no inclination of going. I don't want to purposely go and stress myself out because I know they're going to come out. I know
Right.
it's going to be pop out. So then I'm just tensed up waiting for it.
Exactly.
So that part I don't like, but I like the spooky season vibes. I like,
Okay.
the Black Cat season. It's like Ozzy's time to shine. Just like, the colors and like all of that decor I like,
Yeah.
I'm into. And I
Fall
do
decor.
love like ghost stories and, campfires and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so today we'll do feel good stories.
Yes, thank you.
To start you off with your spooky month. So I've got 3 stories, and you said you have 4 or 5.
I have 4. The last one is just a filler, so if we can get to it, we can
Okay.
get to it. But yeah, and I have 2 that are personal stories and one that's a celebrity story.
Oh, interesting.
So in no particular order, I will share them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first, or you want me to start?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
So the first one is a personal story,
Love
and it
it.
is compliment and you shall receive. So this takes us back to 2013 Christmas season, Black Friday to be exact. My mom and I were shopping at the Target in Belleville, Illinois.
Okay.
And that time frame was when, do you have any of those fleece blankets that like tie around the edge, like 2 pieces of
Oh,
fleece that you put
yes.
together and you cut and tie them?
Yeah.
So like at this time frame, that was like They were really big. They were like the
Yeah.
it thing. So my mom, who of course has several of those blankets, made scarves for us. So she put like 3 pieces of fleece together, like sewed them together, and then cut little strips. So we had our holiday scarves on while we
fun.
were shopping. 'Tis the season.
Yeah.
So we go check out at Target, and there was a woman. She was a seasonal worker, and she commented on how cute our scarves were. And we're like, "Oh, thanks," And my mom's, blushing and excited that she got complimented on her scarf.
Yeah.
And the woman told us that she had a baby girl at home, and she would love to have one of those blankets. But one, the fleece was not cheap to buy.
Okay.
So she was like, "I can't, really afford to buy one, and I don't know how to make it." So we didn't even get all the way out of the door, and my mom was like, "We're gonna make that woman a blanket."
Oh, I thought she was gonna like rip it off her neck and give it to
Oh,
her,
no.
like have our
No.
scarf. Take all of it.
So we left the store, and we're like, "Okay, well, we know she has a baby girl. That's all we know." So of course we went with like pink and purple, very basic girl colors.
Yeah.
Didn't know the woman's name because she didn't have a name tag on.
Oh, this is a worker.
She was she was
Okay.
a seasonal worker.
I was gonna say, how are you gonna find
Yeah,
her?
well, and that was the thing. Like, we had this great idea, and we lived 30 minutes from that Target. So we're like, how are we gonna figure out when she's working again, what her name
Right.
is? How are we gonna get this to her? So we get the quilt made. We go back to Target like 2 weeks later. We walk in, and we just find we got kind of scanned first the checkout aisles to see if we recognized anybody, and we didn't. And then we were like, well, would we even recognize her anyway? You know what I'm saying? Like, it had been 2 weeks. It was just sort of a random interaction. Yeah. So we were walking around the store, and we found a coworker, and we're like, hey, we have this really random request. Like, we were here 2 weeks ago. We met this woman. We don't know what her name is. We just know she has a baby girl. We made this blanket. Like, does anybody here fit that bill? And she was like, oh, yeah. She's like, it's Jasmine. And we're like, great. Is she working today by chance?
Yeah.
And she was like, yes, she's working, but she was on her break. And we're like, fine. We can find some shit to walk around a Target for 20 minutes.
You can spend a day in Target.
Exactly. Yeah, no problem at all. So we ended up going about 20 minutes later up to the front, and immediately, as soon as we saw her, we recognized her. Yeah, and we went up, and we had our scarves on, obviously, so she recognized us immediately. Cool. And we're like, hey, we made a quilt for your baby girl, and want to wish you happy holidays and wish the best, for you and your family. Yeah. All of us, of course, were tears everywhere.
Of course.
We still did not give her our scarves, though. Just the blanket for the baby. Scarves were ours. But I posted that on social media, and it's like my favorite, my time hop, my memories comes up every year around the holiday season. It's just that reminder of, it's such, and she was just making conversation, right? Just checking us out, didn't ask for anything. She just literally made a comment.
Matter-of-factly said.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're like, we can't in good faith, this is such a nice, kind woman. And it would be so easy for us to do this nice, simple thing for her. And it made her complete day.
Right. It's like that one small act of kindness can really make a huge difference.
Yes.
Like that person felt really heard and seen. And
exactly.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when I was in middle school. There was this one girl who, she was a little different. So of course, you're in middle school and you're a little bit different. Everyone fucking hates you. You're a pariah. But she was actually super nice. And it really bothered me that everyone was really mean to her, and she would sit by herself at lunch, and it was around the holiday seasons, and I had just learned how to knit. And so I was on this knitting fever, and I made all these scarves, and I gave one to her at lunch one day. And for the rest of through I don't know, a couple weeks until Christmas break, she wore that scarf. And you could tell that she was just so happy. And it's no one gave her the time of day. Yeah. No one. I really hate kids sometimes.
They're the worst.
In middle school, I've heard some of the insults. We were at a barbecue, and one of our friends has a middle schooler, and she was telling us about some of the things that these other kids have said to her own daughter.
It's terrible.
Where do you come up with that? How do they even know to say something like that?
Yeah. Well, and social media makes it just through the roof. Because obviously when we were kids, you
didn't have
there were
all
still
of that.
the bullying and what have you. But with social media, how harsh they can be behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
And it's it's destroying children. It is. It's sad.
I saw a thing that I don't know when they're going to implement it, but Instagram is going to have like an 18 and under
Good.
Instagram thing. And
Yeah.
there's like all these regulations, and they're going to have them submit, I guess, like their driver's license or form of ID to actually ensure that they are the age that they are. Because, you know, it's very easy to lie about your age, but so they're having them validate their age with the driver's license. And they're like, things that I can remember off the top of my head is like, no notifications will pop up between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. You know, what they can see is a lot more restricted. And then if you're under 18, you are immediately like private. You're not public. And so people would have to request to be your friend and see your stuff. And there's other ones, but those are the ones that I can remember, which is like pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it finally, you know, it's taken long enough. But then I can see both sides. Then it's like, are we regulating it too much? Is it not regulated enough?
Well, it's the parents who really should
Have
be
to, right.
doing all that. And, you know, these kids that are 10 and 11 years old that have access to all this social media have it because their parents have allowed them to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got Blaine a phone, and we had to like set up an Apple ID and all that stuff. And you have to be a certain age to have all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So like everything, we're able to lock down like everything on his phone. We have that. We also have the Family Smart app through Verizon.
Okay.
So like I have an iPhone and Blaine has an iPhone. So I can, with the family share, like I can literally shut down his access to his games with a snap of a finger. Okay. Brian has access to the Family Smart Child app or whatever. So he can turn the internet off. He can track him. We can have like a check-in system. So like if he's riding his bike to his friend's house, and instead of saying like, gotta stop and call us or what have you, he can just open up the app and check in, and it'll give us a location of where he's at.
Oh, okay.
So like, if you want this phone, little man, you have to
There's
to
rules.
abide by all. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's nothing in the parenting handbook that says he has to have a phone at 11 and a half years old.
Exactly.
Nothing.
I was 16 when I got mine.
About the same. Yeah.
Because I was driving and I had sports, and parents needed to know when I was coming home.
Yep. Yeah, we had 2 cell phones when I was in high school that were like the family. So if I was going out with my friends,
Okay.
I had one. If my sister was going out with her friends, she had one. I still have that same number to this day from that very first phone. Yep. Yeah, my sister tweaked hers a little bit, but for the most part, hers is pretty much the same too.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm like scared of what the like environment will be when my kids are going to be like at that age.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be way different and way harder to monitor anything. Because, yeah, you can do all the monitoring yourself on your own devices, but who's to say when they go to a friend's house that friend doesn't expose them to the internet?
Right. I always ask when any friend of Blaine's is coming over, I always ask the parent, like, the obvious questions, right? Are they allergic to anything you want me to, like, not allow them to eat or drink for whatever reason? And then it's the conversation about that, right? Because even though they're under our house and it's our rules, like, I still don't want to expose that child to something that their parents don't want them to be exposed to.
Yeah.
Exactly. And everybody's different. And who am I to judge how you want to parent your kid?
Right. Yeah, I don't want to be a helicopter parent, but I feel like it's going to be so different when
it is.
do get the
Well, imagine what technology. We could go on forever talking about this. But
I know,
I mean,
like
imagine
kids.
like what technology is going to be like at that point.
Right.
Like I can't even fathom.
I imagine like I'm going to have a robot in my house like helping me with chores.
Probably.
And then the kids will be friends with the robot. That's what I imagine. But your story actually reminded me of one that I have.
Okay.
And so Emily has named all of her stories. I've named my stories, and we were talking about how we like to name our stuff.
Yeah.
So this one's Cool Cat Club.
Okay.
And this club was kept secret for 3 decades. It's a club of all women who got together every day without their husbands knowing for 30 years.
Damn.
Yeah, so
I already have so many questions.
pretty secretive. And the activities that were included in this club were like deliveries, they were drive-bys, and they were looking for people that were like vulnerable and down on their luck.
Damn.
Yes, but considering the title of this episode, it's not what you might be thinking.
Okay.
Their mission was to deliver pound cakes. So this secret club is known as the Nine Nanas. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
I have not heard of it either, and I don't know if it's still around today or not.
Okay.
But yeah, so they call themselves the Nine Nanas, and they would deliver pound cakes, but they would also deliver care packages.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll get into the explanation as like the drive-bys and everything like that. But so this was in West Tennessee near Graceland.
Okay.
And so 9 women, 9 nanas, every day they would gather in darkness. So in the wee hours of the morning, 4 a.m. is when they would start.
It's the time I get up.
I just want to say, there's people that like do this. As soon as I wrote like middle of the night, I'm like, well, some people consider this morning. And then I knew you were one of them. Jess is one of them who like purposely get up at that hour like to work out, which is grotesque. The sun ain't up, I ain't either. But so they would wake up at 4 a.m. or start their day at 4 a.m. and they would gather for their mission, which was to create happiness. That was their end goal. So for 30 years, they did this without their husbands knowing. 4 to 7 a.m. was their routine, get together, whip up hundreds of pound cakes each day. And it was all part of this great ploy to help those in need. And they would just sneak back into the normal everyday lives, and none were the wiser that they were doing this. And the only thing that you would be able to tell that something had like conspired was that there would be like a lingering heavenly scent of like vanilla.
Okay.
Like that was like just the remnants of
Uh-huh.
it. And then what they would do is that they would like just have the UPS driver like deliver all these packages.
Okay.
Some would be like specifically to houses that they would say, and then others I have no idea where they would take them to, probably like shelters or what have you. But can you imagine being this like UPS driver who is receiving 100 packages a day from this group of elderly women? Because it was all women from the ages of 54 to 72.
That would raise some questions.
I think today, yes.
Yeah.
And
were they all sent anonymously?
Yes,
Okay.
everything was
Okay.
anonymous, which, you know, I talk about later is, so this started in like the 70s, which in that time, 100%, you know, can see. If I received an anonymous package today of a homemade good, I'm sorry, I'm not eating it. I'm just,
either.
you know, people be peopling, and they have ruined a lot of things.
They have.
Including like receiving like homemade stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like even when like I go to work, yeah, I know it's my coworkers, but still I don't know how they made that shit.
Right. Yeah.
And I listen to a lot of true crime, so I'm just always sus. I'm like, what if they laced that with arsenic, you know? Or ricin or something.
You always go for the negative, because I do sometimes, and it really grinds Brian's gears.
Not always
in a situation like that, like.
Not always negative. It's like, I don't know, my brain, if I saw like baked goods, my mind immediately is like, oh, how sweet. But then I start thinking.
Right.
And I'm like, is it that sweet?
Right.
And it also just depends on the context.
Okay.
But my mind definitely goes into grinding the gears and trying to figure out what is happening here. But I think also like as a woman, you have to.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, this started almost 50 years ago, so late 70s. Couldn't find if it was still happening today. I hope so, but I couldn't find anything to say like that it was. And how it started was that this group of ladies, they would get together weekly for a game of bridge, and so they were known, or it was called Broads and Bridge.
I love it.
I know. I know. And so one of these nights while they're playing bridge, they're reminiscing about like the good deeds and different ways that Mama and Papa, which is one of the grandparents, like how they helped out their community. And they were the grandparents of like 4 of the women that were there.
Okay.
And then there was 5 others who they all call each other sisters, but 4 are biologically related, and the rest are, you know, family, but not family. So they're talking about all the different things that they did. And one of the things that Mama Ruth would do is she would read the paper and she would see where someone had died or passed away. And then she would make her special recipe pound cake and then send it to that family. And then regardless if she knew the family or not, she would just send it so that, one, it would hopefully put a smile on their face, but then two, just to let them know that someone out there is thinking of them.
Right.
And hopefully make them feel like an iota better. So these broads at Bridge, they start brainstorming, and they decide they also want to like make a difference. And they're like, how can we do that? And so making the pound cakes stayed, but then they like also broadened what they would do.
Okay.
And they wanted to remain anonymous. So all of this was very hush-hush, very sneaky. They didn't want to raise any susses. And then to get extra cash, they started doing their own laundry, which I guess they were taking I guess it sounded like they were taking like their husband's clothes to a cleaner's for like the shirts and the pants. Mm-hmm. So they decided they were going to start doing that themselves. Because, this is a time for like shared bank accounts, so they didn't want to make their husband suspicious. Mm-hmm. So then they decide, okay, well, if we do our own laundry, then we'll save that money that we would have used, and then they can use that to
help others.
Right.
Okay.
So that was one of the ways that they were able to like get more money. Between the 9 of them, they would have like an extra $400 a month, which in today's money, that's $3,000.
Yeah.
So, it's a good chunk of change. And then the eavesdropping begins. So what they decided to do was they would listen with good intentions whenever they went to grocery stores or they were at the beauty parlor, and they would take note of anyone that was in need of help.
Yeah.
And then, note that and somehow figure out where they lived, or kind of in your case, maybe go back to the grocery store and like help fill up their cart, give them the pound cake. They would do all sorts of different things as well besides just the cakes, but the cakes were notorious. They would have a care package, but then also have the cake, and it kind of distinguished who they were. And then to save even more money, they became coupon clippers.
Love it.
And then they used green stamps, which I've never heard of green stamps.
It's like food stamps?
Food stamps is what
Okay.
it sounded like to me, and became like the biggest bargain hunters. And one bragged about how they were able to spend $100 but walk away with $700 worth of merchandise. So they
that's a haul.
7 times their which is pretty cool. And then, like I said, somehow they would find where people lived. Again, it's in the 70s, maybe phone book, yellow pages, I don't know.
Right.
So then they would send the care package with a note that just simply said, somebody loves you. And then include that special pound cake. And then, like I was saying, I don't know, if you would be able to do that in today's time.
Well, definitely not food. Sending a care package, yes.
A care package, yes.
But I feel like there would still be people that would be suspicious of that. I'm not sure. I probably would be myself, depending on what it is that was sent to me,
Right. It's like
anything anonymous.
Yeah.
Why are we this way?
I only order from Amazon. If it's not coming from Amazon, what is
right.
this?
Yeah. And if I can't track it from the second I buy it until the second it's on my porch, I don't want it.
Did someone send me a bag of dicks? What is this?
Yeah.
A bomb?
Wow. It's so unfortunate that it has to be that way, because it's so easy to make a difference and to do something nice for somebody.
And I think it also depends where you live.
True.
Here in the city, I don't know so much, but I think if you go more countryside, know thy neighbors, etc., then I think it would be different.
For sure. That was like that where I grew up. Small town America.
Yeah.
Southern Illinois. Even to this day. Making somebody a pound cake and sending it to them anonymously in Redbud probably wouldn't, nobody would bat an eye.
No red flags.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think there's still some places in the U.S. that are like that you could do that. But so the more these ladies helped, the bolder they became. So they're already eavesdropping. They're already, just sending off random packages. This is where they start driving by homes. So they would drive through low-income neighborhoods, and they would look for homes that had fans in the windows to let them know that they probably don't have AC. Or if a home didn't have lights on at night, then they would guess that maybe the utilities were shut off. And so then they would return before the sun came up, quote, like cat burglars, and then drop off a little care package, giving new meaning to the term drive-by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. A drive-by I can stand by.
Right. The drive-bys that we love. So this went on for 3 decades.
That's crazy.
And no one figured them out. So then I'm like, husbands, like, how are you not noticing this? Your wife is disappearing every morning from 4 to 7 a.m. Like, you don't feel her get out of bed. You don't see her return. Like, there's no questions.
And every day.
Every day.
Like, at some point, to your point, the husband's going to notice that she's gone, right? I mean, he has to.
Like, I know, like, men don't always notice stuff, but I feel like this is 30 years.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
But so one husband did notice, and this is where, you know, they figure it out. I guess he was looking at his bank statement and he saw some activity in lines that he didn't recognize. And so he's asking his wife about it, and she's not explaining it well enough for him. And she didn't want him to think that anything was going on, like cheating wise,
right,
or, you know, worse. And so she came clean and she was like, hey, this is what we've been doing. We've been doing it for 30 years. And he thought it was amazing. And then they went ahead and they just got all of the husbands together and they just all told them at the same time, like, this is what it is. This is what I've been doing. And they were all super supportive. They loved it. And some of them would even like help out. Like, they still kept it pretty exclusive to like the sisters and the women, but like then you had like men that were also like writing down addresses for them or helping with the eavesdropping. And so some of the husbands did get like involved a little bit. And then this operation expanded once the internet came about, because like I said, it started in the 70s, internet comes in the 90s. So then they started selling the pound cakes online to help raise more money to help more people. And at one point, they were getting like more than 100 orders per day. Eventually, the baking operation moved from one of the homes, because, you know, you're just in a house and you have over 100 orders a day, to a commercial kitchen in a restaurant that was owned by one of their sons.
Love it.
So then they got their kids involved, and it became like this big family thing that they were doing. Keeping it sneaky, though. They still kept like all the care packages and everything like anonymous. And they would still do it before the sun was up. Okay. So they're still working in those middle of the night hours. Middle of the night, quote unquote.
Top of the morning.
Yeah. So then they're bringing in a shit ton of money, that they even hired a happiness coordinator. And
I didn't know there was such a thing.
They, I think, created it. And this person was just to remain anonymous. So she goes by Sunny. Okay. I guess Sunny. Yeah. And then her main job was just eavesdropping. So she would just drive around town, listen to conversations, find opportunities, and then report back. And then they took on bigger projects given the online success. And one of the big projects that they had was donating $5,000 worth of like pillows, linens, and personal care products to a shelter of survivors of domestic violence. So that was like one of their big ones. And then they also started doing this monthly thing called Happiness Happens. And it's where they would send like a token of appreciation to one person in every state of the United States who had made a difference in their community. Oh. So they were like, we see you.
Acknowledging them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like keep it going.
Yes.
And then when they initially began, they had joked about like, you know, making $1 million, or what would we do, you know, if we had, you know, raised $1 million. Well, after 35 years, they almost did it. They got up to $900,000 of, you know, what they've contributed to the community. And one of the women goes on to say, quote, "We want people to know that someone out there cares enough to do something. We want to make sure that happiness happens." And like I said, I don't know if this is still happening.
All the warm and fuzzies. Well, if it's not, we should start it back up.
I know.
Shit.
Just get a group of people.
I don't know how to make pound cake. We can figure something out.
I know, if people aren't taking home goods, you know, like, what are you taking?
Right. We get some crumble cookies. Everybody loves that.
Dude, that would give everyone diabetes.
True. Good point.
I love crumble, but I saw a video that showed like exactly how much sugar was in like one.
It was
so bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad. So it's been a minute since I've had crumble cookie.
I can only take it like, I don't know, I cut the things in a 6th or 8th maybe. I mean, like just a little bitty hunk of whatever flavor because they are so sweet.
You're essentially eating sugar. Is what
Exactly.
It is. Yeah.
Right.
Which was sad because, I could eat a full one. But now that I know how much was in there, I'm like, God
Like that's your
damn.
sugar allotment for what, a month?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I don't do the crumble. But yeah, so that's the 9 nanas.
I love that.
Yeah. So your story kind of reminded me of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it just, there isn't enough like random acts of kindness, pay it forward, that takes place in the world anymore. It's so sad.
I know. And then, but when it does happen, it's like super more appreciated and you're more
Right.
grateful for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The nanas.
9 nanas.
I love it. I love it. All right.
So you said you had 2 personal ones?
I do.
Nice.
Yeah. I'll tell the other personal one and then I'll do the celebrity one.
Okay.
So this one, and my titles got less
Creative.
catchier and creative, okay?
It's hard.
It is. Well, and like I tried to be like a little cliche, but not all the way cliche. You know what I mean? Like you
Toe the
gotta
line.
toe the line, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of later in the evening when I was like writing down all of my notes. I'm like, okay, yeah,
The brain cells aren't firing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So this was like my story number 3. So that's why the phrase is not as catchy. But kindness goes a long way. Very cliche. This one actually has to do with my husband and one of his personal training clients that he has. So for those listening who don't know, my husband's a certified personal trainer. He trains at the Wild Horse Apartment Complex in Chesterfield, Missouri.
Whoop whoop, shout out.
Yeah.
Plug it. Check it out.
He was leaving one day, leaving the gym from training one of his clients, and he saw a senior citizen woman walking towards the door with a walker. And the residents, like the buildings are all locked down, so the residents have to swipe, to get in, which obviously he knew that. So he took the time to wait until she approached the door to hold it open for her, made eye contact with her, asked her how she was doing, how her day was, blah, blah, blah.
Being a civil human being.
exactly.
Being, just
Right.
the most basic human being.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I've heard from this saying from somebody that I absolutely love too, that if you open up a door for somebody because you're looking for a thank you, or you're letting somebody in traffic because you're looking for like that thank you wave, you're doing it for the wrong
It's
reason.
selfish. Yeah.
Yes.
You're not
Yes.
being selfless. You're being selfish. About
Correct.
it.
You're
It's-
just waiting for that pat on the
it's-
back, acknowledgement that I did my good deed for
You're
the day.
feeding your ego. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Disgusting. Brian is not like that at all. He truly, wanted to
Genuinely
help her
wants to
out.
help people.
Genuinely wanted to help.
Yeah.
So this woman who's lives there in the apartment complex ended up walking in and asked. He had his like BFit Academy T-shirt on, what have you. So she went to the property manager and inquired about who he was and how she could get his contact information. She is a cancer survivor, and she was recovering from a broken femur, and she's 70.
Oh my God.
That's why she had the walker. Her bones were brittle from
Yeah.
chemotherapy, broke her femur, and she was recovering from that. So insert certified personal trainer. She needed somebody to help build up her strength.
Yeah.
So when she put the 2 and 2 together of who he was and what he was doing at the apartment complex, she got his information, called him. First and foremost, started with the fact of, you have restored my faith in the younger generations of not only waiting, opening the door, but speaking to her. Because, let's be honest, most young or most adults our age don't take the time and the patience to do things like that for the elderly. They don't take the time to, we do, right? You and I, we are good people, but that it just doesn't happen a lot. So she was first just impressed with the fact that hey, he's obviously running a business, probably has somewhere else to be, but took the time to stop and wait, acknowledge me, and speak to me for a minute. That meant so much to her that she picked up the phone, called, set up an appointment, got together with him, told her what she was going through, what her recovery and stuff was. And she now is his longest personal training client.
Oh,
so
wow.
Still 2 days a week. it gets deeper than this too. Her and her husband have grown children that both live out of state. So like Brian and I spend holidays with them.
Really?
Because, yeah. Yeah. Like we'll go for Thanksgiving and Christmas, we go to his aunt's house every year at noon for both holidays. And then we're always like the last ones there because everybody else has a bunch of other places to go.
Yeah.
And we leave there and we go to the apartment and hang out with this couple because their children are out of state and their children have children. So it's not as easy for them to travel around the holidays. So they were like, we have an empty apartment. If you guys want to come over, we've like had them over for Super Bowl party. We go to Top Golf with them. Like they're truly like friends. Part of our family and friends. Yeah, absolutely. Like we do like pool days at the apartment complex. There'll be times like if I have a day off work or get off work early or something and Brian is going to the apartment complex, sometimes I'll just call her up and be like, hey, when you're done with your session, like Brian's going to be here for another hour and I'm going to be with him. You want to come down and like have some coffee and chat and hang out every single time. Like she like truly is one of my friends and has become like family to us, and literally all started from opening up the door, making eye contact and acknowledging her presence.
Which is wild to me on so many levels. One, the fact that like just doing like the most basic thing that she was like awestruck by. Like how far have we like strayed as like a civilization for like people to be like that impressed with just, that basic. Because like it also like, when you go to restaurants, like all of this happened like post COVID, like everyone got like really mean after COVID and really standoffish. Especially like in the service industry. Like I'm not asking you to fake be nice, but like you can't even get a smile or anything. So like when I get like a server or someone who actually like doesn't look like they're like really fucking miserable and hate their lives right then, I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. When that used to just be the norm.
Yes.
So like that is mind blowing. But then also like how one little decision, one little thing that you do can change like the whole scheme of things. So him just opening up the door, you guys now have like lifelong friends.
Absolutely. Yes. And a client for life, because for her too now it's like that personal training is a necessity. She actually fell again after all like Brian got her to just like all kinds of strength, walking without the walker, like doing things at her age, like physically in a workout setting that she never thought she would be able to do. And then she fell. It was an issue at the apartment complex. I won't get into there's a legal issue with it. But like there was, did she break her femur again? She broke some other major bone after all this. And like, we were one of the first people, right? Brian was one of the first people she called, obviously, like after she knew what was going on and was settled. And we even went to go visit her like in the rehab facility. Brian talked to the personal trainer that she was working with in the rehab facility. And she was like, this is my trainer, like, so they could talk about what she was working on while she was there. And then, Brian could pick up and piggyback right off of that when she was home.
Right.
Makes to help sense, and make sure that she was continuing to get stronger and stronger and stronger.
That's awesome.
So,
So how long have you guys known them?
It's 2 years, I guess.
Okay.
Because Brian started working at Wild Horse from Mary Behrens.
Another boxing person.
Exactly. Her boss, because she does real estate, her boss lives at this apartment complex, and Brian started training him. Mary connected them together.
Okay.
And that's like, he might have even been training with him or like finishing up training with him whenever he was leaving on that day. So it's been a couple years now, because like she was one of his first clients at the apartment complex.
Okay.
And still to this day, she goes 2 days a week she now bumps up, she goes 75 minutes each day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And it's awesome when you have like either a personal trainer or a physical therapist that and that you trust and like has like your best interest in mind.
Yes.
It makes all the difference.
And they have like real conversations too. She's very like, she has grown children. They, sometimes make choices and decisions that her and her husband don't necessarily agree with, but she's very much like, it's their life. It's their decision. We can give them advice. We can answer, questions if they ask us, but like we're not going to pry and say you should be doing this and you shouldn't be doing that.
Right, they're
like,
grown. They're their own people.
It's their life. Yeah. And you also, even being an adult that has grown children, doesn't always, like a parent that has grown children doesn't always act that way too. They still think that like, I don't care how old you are, I'm going to tell you
my child
what to do, how to do it, and you better listen or I'm going to judge the fuck out of you. And like, they're just not like that. So like, it's refreshing that they can have those types of conversations, like real conversations about tough subjects, and whether they agree to disagree, that doesn't change their relationship that they have. So like, that's another level of, connection that they have together, which is great.
Right. I mean, Birdie's got to fly.
Do it.
I said Birdie's got to fly at some point.
Yep.
Let him
exactly.
fly.
Yep.
That's very cool. I love that you brought personal stories. I immediately so I've been compiling a list of when I see something really cool, or like a feel good or something, then I'll I'll save it. So I went to my save because I knew that I had quite a few of them. And my other one is also a Cool Cat Club. I had two club ones, also of elderly ladies. So all of these elderly ladies are just making the coolest clubs ever.
Yeah.
This club is called Old Ladies Against Underwater Garbage Aquatic Club in Cape Cod. Okay. It's a mouthful.
It really is. There an acronym for that?
It is, and I don't know how you pronounce it. It's OLAUG. So Olag? Olaug? Olag. Olag, maybe. Yeah. But when I was reading Olag, all I could think of was Olaf from...
Warm Hugs.
No, what's the...
Oh, you were not thinking of Frozen.
No. No, that's not what it's Lemony Snicket, Series of Unfortunate Events. Count Olaf.
Never seen that.
Oh, watch the Jim Carrey one.
Okay.
I think... Yeah, there's two out there. Jim Carrey one I love because I'm a Jim Carrey person.
Okay. There's also a Viking named Olaf too. That's where I thought you were going with that. Like from the show Valhalla Vikings on Netflix. Different than Warm Fuzzy Hugs.
Yes. Well, same with a Series of Unfortunate Events. It's not warm at all, but Olag reminded me of Olaf. So essentially the name speaks for itself. It's a group of elderly ladies, and what they do is they swim and dig for garbage, and they keep the waters clean. And they started in Cape Cod. And I guess Cape Cod has a bunch of ponds.
Okay.
I'm not familiar. I mean, I've heard of Cape Cod.
Yeah.
But I can't mentally picture that. I could have looked it up, should have looked it up. But they do have a website for their club.
What?
Yes.
I'm going to check it out.
And on their website, it says, "We are a group of old ladies aged 64 to 85 and counting who swim in the freshwater ponds of our Cape Cod collecting trash. We are serious about our mission, but as you can maybe tell by our name, we don't take ourselves very seriously." And it was founded by 84-year-old Susan Bauer, who says Olag's greatest service is not just cleaning ponds, but spreading joy that comes from being involved with nature and working to protect it. To join this club, you have to be 64 years old.
Damn.
Yes.
Let's shout out to these older women that are still going out and physically doing shit. Too.
Yes, keeping themselves busy and making a difference.
Swimming in a pond at 70 to 80 years old too. That takes some physical endurance.
Collecting trash.
Yes.
And I will talk about
off.
one of their greatest missions. I have one of their stories in here of their greatest triumph.
Okay.
But so you have to be 64 years old. You have to be able to swim half a mile in under 30 minutes. And then you have to free dive at least 8 feet. So, it can't just be anyone age 64. You have to be able to physically do these things as well. And I believe the first year they started out at 5 members, and now they're up to 23.
Okay.
And so you have this club, and they're not just doing a great service collecting debris from water, making a positive impact on the environment, but you're getting a group of ladies together who have a great time. And like we said, they're keeping themselves busy, they're staying active, and it's made a positive impact on their lives as well. So one member specifically, Marcy Johnson, she shared how crucial this group was during her journey of fighting breast cancer. So she not only had the support system of the other ladies there, but then she talked about just the sereneness or serenity of the water and how peaceful it was, and how going on these missions to collect the trash like distracted her, and she was just like in the moment of like, okay, I have a task and this is what I'm gonna do, and you know, it helped distract her from what she was going through. And so she like contributes to the group to like really helping her out. And if you look them up, there is this iconic photo, and I will post it, but it's in the photo, it's a group of ladies who are triumphantly lifting this bright blue toilet out of the water, and they're wearing like these bright ass orange swim caps, and they've got like the snorkel dive mask gears on.
Prepared.
Yeah, and so like, you know, they're just, you know, they're like, you can tell in their faces just like they're just elated. And there's a woman in a kayak in the background, and she's got both arms up, and she's like screaming in victory. Like, it is like a phenomenal photo. It is iconic to look at. And this toilet turns out was like a big fucking deal, because they normally would pick up like golf balls, rope, beer cans, you know, like trash that you can like pick up with like one hand, not super heavy duty lifting. Well, anyway, they were called out to this specific pond to retrieve the toilet. And I'm not sure on all of the logistics, but it sounds like there's POAs, pond owner associations. I mean, I just made that up. They have, I mean, it's someone who like...
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
It's like someone who manages ponds.
Okay.
So then those people who manage the ponds reach out to these ladies, at least in the Cape Cod area, and they're like, you know, hey, you know, we need some help cleaning up, everything like that. So they were called out for this toilet specifically. And in search and rescue fashion, 15 swimmers go out, and then 5 kayakers like fan out. Okay. It's, you know, like a Mission Impossible movie. Conditions on this day, they were rainy, they were windy, the sky was overcast, which was making it a lot more difficult to see in the water. Quote, couldn't see a damn thing. Hour goes by, they've collected plenty of trash. They're still gonna collect other things while they're there, but no sign of this blue porcelain toilet. It's like the Moby Dick, it's the white whale.
And somebody saw somebody dump it. I think I missed that part.
I think so. Okay. I'm guessing that's some POA president.
Yeah. Somebody broad daylight just
dumped
their toilet into the pond.
Yeah. Okay. Or I guess maybe they do like scout walks around the ponds, and then maybe they saw it from a walk.
Okay.
Not sure how they knew a toilet was in this pond specifically, but there was. Okay. So hour goes by, can't find anything. They're frustrated. They're tired because they've been swimming around in these rainy, windy conditions. It's cold, you know, it's overcast. And Susan Bauer, the president of this club, she directs a 9-person sweep where the toilet was located back in June, I guess, when they saw it. Still nothing. Couldn't find it. So then she calls in reinforcements on kayaks. You know, she's like, go.
With her whistle.
I guess. This way. It's what I'm picturing based off of what I was reading and the picture that I saw. That was another failed sweep. Still couldn't find it. So the article says that they were cursing like sailors. They were disappointed, and they're about to give up when someone shouts, toilet! So someone had found it. So the ladies, they start hooting and hollering, and they grab their rope, they dive down, they lasso that bitch up, and then turns out it was on its side, which made it more difficult to see, but then also made it more difficult to retrieve.
Hell yeah.
And then, you know, a toilet by itself is heavy as shit. Like, Vic and I got a new toilet probably a couple months ago, and both of us carrying it was exhausting.
Did you have to take it upstairs?
We had to take it upstairs. It was so heavy. And I'm like sitting here worried. I'm like, I don't know if I can carry this bit. Like, normally I pride myself in being like a strong, independent woman, and like, we don't need to call the boys because like you got me. But I was like, I don't know, I'm like, damn, maybe we should call your brothers. Like, this is really heavy. But we got it. So then you have like these elderly ladies that are trying to lift it out of the water.
Which granted,
in the water is probably easier, but they have to lift it up and out.
Right.
So they do struggle to get it onto the side of the kayak, but they do. A whole eel comes out of it, and then, yeah, it was the thing. I would drop the toilet if an eel came out.
I think I would have too.
Yeah. Anyway, so they drag the toilet to shore. There's a joyous celebration, and then they go and get hot chocolate and cookies. After every pond mission, they do hot chocolate and cookies.
That was their tradition.
Yes,
Yeah.
and well, they do all of this like pro bono. Like they don't charge people for it. The only thing that they ask for are hot chocolate and cookies.
Okay.
So after every mission, they get cookies.
Yeah.
And
They earn that shit.
yeah. And like, how delicious would that hot chocolate and cookie be after swimming in a
So,
pond for
yeah.
like an hour plus?
Right.
It sounds delectable, like right
Yes.
now. And then they joked later, like, oh, isn't it funny that you can never find a toilet when you're looking for one? In or out of water. So it turns out they don't allow men in the club. It's
Okay.
exclusive to
Okay.
women. Men are allowed to volunteer, but none like go in the water, none go swimming with them, diving with them. And Susan Bowers quoted saying, they're too competitive. Women work together differently, and by the time a woman is in her late 60s, she has experienced loss. And people in our group, they have lost breast, homes, husbands, and wealth. They are in the age of gratitude.
Yeah.
So they're in their gratitude era.
Right.
And so she wants to keep it just that.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. How it all got started was, so Bauer, she's known as the Turtle Lady. So for 20 years, she had been swimming in the ponds of Cape Cod, and she would love to swim with the turtles. And she would just admire the turtles and how like their shells would reflect, you know, in the water. And the waters would get more and more dirty. And so I forget what year it was where she had decided that like enough was enough. It was in 2017. So like by then it was gross and nasty, and then she like has this like love and admiration for like the turtles and the wildlife there, and the article would go on to like explain from her POV on like, you know, she's doing this because like fish want to live and turtles want to live. And she talks about like they like show gratitude on their face when she takes like a rope around their neck, or you know she cleans their home. And so she does have this like profound love and respect for wildlife, which relatable.
Yeah,
I can
same.
100% relate. Like I would do it to save the fishies and not necessarily like clean the environment.
Right.
So like
Same.
I was like, Susan, I hear you. I'm with you. I want to be in your club.
Wait till you're 64.
I know. I'm like, can we have like
Lower that age.
Can we have like two versions? Can we have? I mean, young ladies wouldn't work, but what's another like? Because old ladies would have Olog. You would have Yalog if it was young ladies.
Yeah.
Yalog.
Yola. I like that. Yeah. I like that. You should write her a
I'll
note.
reach out to her.
Yeah.
So it started in 2017 when she had seen enough, and then she enlisted the help of two friends and a kayak, and thus Olog was born. And then slowly but surely, they're up to 23.
Are they still around?
I don't know. I didn't look at the year of the article. It sounded like it was a more recent thing.
Okay.
I'm also kind of scared to look up if it is or isn't around. Because
Yeah.
Susan was 84 at the time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't... Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
In my mind, it's still happening.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I'll leave it like that.
And all the trash is out of all those ponds.
Yeah.
at
And
all
like the
times.
turtles are like sparkly and they're swimming
Yes.
and they're happy. Yeah.
That whole like topic really grinds my gears too. People throwing shit in the water, leaving trash anywhere.
I don't get it.
I am that person, and I think you might have even said something on one of the previous
Yes, we did. It's
podcasts
a
where
big
like
pet peeve.
you will like leave a Cardinals game or something, and you will like pick up shit along the way. I do that to an extent, right? There is also that like germ, and just, you know, like
I have my limits.
there are limits, right? Like I don't have one of those like little grabbers. Nor do I carry gloves with me. I usually have like hand sanitizers and wipes, but sometimes it's, you know, depending on where you're at, limits to that. But I don't understand how it's not that hard. It's not that fucking hard. There are trash cans everywhere, anywhere you go. If you're leaving like some sort of venue like the Cardinals, like Busch Stadium or
a
Enterprise Center or
concert,
something, they're always on the way out
Or
or
a movie
on the
theater.
sidewalk. Everywhere.
And that's where it's like, that's where I can't understand the mentality is what's where I struggle with is that like in your mind you just leave it. Like, does it even occur to you to pick it up? And
Right.
if it doesn't, that is concerning. If it does cross your mind and you still leave it,
Also concerned.
that is also concerning.
Yes.
Either way, it is concerning.
Yeah.
And discouraging.
Yes. I mean, I will even, when Brian and I go out to eat at a restaurant, like, love to be waited on, right? And to have somebody like bring that's why I go out to eat. So somebody's doing that for me. But we still clean up the table.
Yes.
Like if we're wrapping up an appetizer and we still have our entree or coming, whatever, like I will take a napkin, I will wipe down whatever crumbs or like condensation from a cup that has gotten on the table. Like I will clean all that. I will like then, push everything off to the side in a pile, easy for them to come take it. And everybody always asks me, have you ever been
A server.
in the service industry? And I'm like, no, I just like my shit to be clean and tidy. Like just because I'm out somewhere in public and like somebody's waiting and serving on me doesn't mean I'm going to be a slob.
Doesn't mean you have to be a trash human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we always stack our plates and make it easy for them, put it on the edge.
Yeah.
And like, I have been in the service industry, but like, I think I would still do it regardless.
Yeah.
It's just common courtesy.
Right.
Everyone is just trying, everyone is struggling, everyone is just trying to live their
Yes.
life. Like, it's really not that hard to like be kind to another person
Right.
and try and make their life a little bit easier.
And like leave it better than the way you found it.
100%. Yes.
I despise women's bathrooms that do not have paper towels and just have the like blow air dryer.
Yes.
Because then water gets everywhere. And that's a big pet peeve of mine, water messes. So anytime I go to a restroom, a public restroom that has paper towels, I will clean the sink after I wash my hands.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes, I will.
So like we have different levels because I will pick up trash from Busch Stadium, but I'm not going to sit there and wipe down the bathroom sink.
I do. We were on a scavenger hunt in Soulard over the weekend, and I forget where we were at, but one of the places had like the air blow dryer or whatever for your hands. And my best friend was with us and she knows my pet peeve with water messes. Yeah. And I come out there and I'm like, my hands are like still wet because I don't like to stand there and wait for my hands to dry either,
Right.
So I walk out and I'm like, God, I hate bathrooms that don't have paper towels. And Brian kind of looked at me funny and my friend Carrie was like, well, it's because of the water mess, right? And I'm like, absolutely, it's the water mess. That sink was horrendous.
So if Emily's gone for a while, we know that she's in the bathroom
Absolutely.
cleaning up the sink.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And if I'm a little tipsy when I go in the bathroom, it takes a little bit longer. But I'm coming out. Don't worry.
Give it 10 minutes and then come check.
Exactly. Yes, there are limits. But yes, leave it better than the way you found it. And the same thing with like the ponds and lakes and oceans and all. Like that's the wildlife that lives in those
their
areas.
home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like who are we to go throw our trash in their home? Just because? Like we're too lazy to find a trash can?
The audacity
Yes.
of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever, and we don't drink soda much in we don't drink soda at all at our house, nor when we did it for like a mixer, we don't get it in like, with the 6-pack.
Cut the thing.
Yes. Thank you. You know exactly where I was going with that. Because what is it like as a child? Was it like a picture of a duck that was stuck in one or some animal?
I've seen turtles. I've seen, lots.
Traumatized. So cut those fuckers before you throw them away.
Oh, and then like with our canned goods, I will smash the can so that like the cat's heads won't go in and get stuck.
Yes.
Or raccoons.
I was just
going
to say raccoons. Yes.
Yeah. So I will smash the cans.
Yes, exactly. We're doing our part.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the animals.
Exactly. Yes.
Always.
All right. My next story is the celebrity story.
Okay.
And it is titled Show Me the Action. But it's not a Tom Cruise story. I just stole the movie quote.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, so this is about, and I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of his last name. Sorry. Steve Buscemi.
Oh,
Do you know who I'm talking?
Buscemi, Buscemi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw this story a number of times with the recent anniversary of 9/11.
Okay.
Have
I
you
know
seen this one?
Yes, love it.
So he used to be, and let me get these facts right. So he was a firefighter for Manhattan's Engine 55 in the 80s. So when he heard of the attacks at 9/11, instead of, hey, I make a shit ton of money, let me just throw money at whoever can take it, he was like, no, I'm
gonna
going to
suit
be down there on the ground helping, and did like 12-hour shifts for several weeks to help finding, survivors and helping clean up the rubble, whatever needed to be done. Like
Right.
he stepped in to do it. And during that time, right, like your action was unmatched. It didn't matter how much money people had and was throwing at whatever. Like they needed people on the ground. They needed
Right.
bodies. They needed people to help. And, like full disclosure, I'm not saying that he's like the only celebrity that did anything, or that like the money wasn't used for good. I'm sure there was a ton of people I know that did so much during that time. But that story really, got my heart, because he didn't have to do any of that, right? Like he could have, again, just said, here's some money, or I'm going to pray, or I'm going to send you well wishes,
Thoughts
or
and prayers,
what have you, right?
Yeah.
But he's like, no, like this is what he did. And then I don't know, I didn't look to see how old he was on 9/11.
Like this past year.
Yeah.
I thought he was like in his 60s.
I was just going to say, and if he was a
70s by now.
firefighter in the 80s, he would be, I don't know, maybe
It's a
like
quick
would have been in
Google.
his 20s or something like that in the 80s when he was a firefighter, maybe 30s.
He's 66 years old.
Now he is?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was 23 years ago, so 44? Three? Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, so and then he was named honorary battalion chief by the New York City Fire Department
I don't know,
for that. I don't
It's-
know exactly what that means, but
but it's very admirable.
yes.
Especially like with a celebrity, because it is just so easy for them to just donate money.
Right. Or just to show up and kiss babies' heads.
Or like
Foreheads,
or like make a commercial for it and not even donate. Oprah Winfrey
Right.
and The Rock.
Right.
That irked
Called
me
you out.
to no end.
Yes.
I'm like, you have fucking money coming out the wazoo, and
Yeah.
then you're asking the common folk who are struggling
Right.
to even buy groceries, you're asking us
Yeah.
to give the money when you could very easily just write a check and you won't even see a dent in your bank account.
Right.
Fuck right off.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah. And like at the end of the day, when something terrible like that happens in your country too, we're all just fucking people. We're all human beings,
Yeah.
Like doesn't matter how much money you have or what your status is. Like at the end of the day, like people needed to chip in and help. Had I been closer to, like I was very young when that happened, but still like I would have
Yeah.
done whatever needed to be done in that time frame to help. Like that's all the country needed was help.
Yeah.
And he took that step and actually
he did.
that. And he did help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I didn't find like stats on if there was any, like if he was part of any sort of like major, recovery or anything like that. Not that that's like terribly important to share. I mean, his action was enough, but
Right.
in 2014, he got the recognition of honorary, but is that battalion? Is that how you pronounce that?
Sounds right.
Apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. A battalion chief for his service on 9/11.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a cool actor. I like him in his movies.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He always plays kind of the quirky, at least the movies I've seen him in, like kind of
quirky.
the,
Yeah.
like the quirky guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm remembering him in Armageddon. It's been a while since
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen it, but remember he was the one they had to like strap to the seat because he was trying to ride.
Yes. And then, well, when I think of him, I think of Men in Black, because he was
Never seen Men in Black.
really classic. Check it out. But he plays like an alien in that movie, which
Okay.
with his appearances, can be kind of fitting. And the other one that I think of is Reservoir Dogs.
Okay.
That he's in.
Uh-huh.
Believe that's the one where it's like Mr. Pink.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. I believe so. But yeah, I mean, he's in a lot of iconic movies.
Yes.
Iconic celebrity.
Yeah. Yeah. So heartwarming. And obviously like all over my news feed with that being the anniversary of
9/11,
that
yeah.
being recent.
Yeah, I did see that one.
Which, now that I think about it, I don't know if I saw any other, like, and I mentioned, like, I'm sure there were other, like, celebrities that were, feet to the ground during that time frame. But his story was the only one that came up in any of my social media feeds.
Right. And that's what I wonder if
So maybe
anyone
not.
else, yeah.
Right.
Celebrity-wise.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, I got one more, and it's also, like, pretty short. So it's train station stays open for one person.
Ooh, okay.
Have you not heard this one?
I don't think I have.
So there was this train station in a remote location in Japan.
Okay.
And it's closed now, but it remained open for one singular passenger. So there's this group that operated the railway network in Ku Shirataki Station in rural Japan. And it was one of the stations where, like, ridership had fallen due to, one, its remote location, but then also there was more efficient high-speed trails or rails that expanded on the outskirts of the country. So
Okay.
more people were doing those and less of, like, these kind of, like, low-tech, older model styles. But there was students that still depended on these railways to get to school, specifically one high school girl. And this train station stayed open, and they would pick her up in the morning, take her to school, and then the only other route it did was pick her up from school and then drop her back off at home. And it was going to close, but then when they found out that she,
Was dependent.
was dependent on
Yeah.
it, then they stayed open for the rest of her high school career.
Shut up. So how old when this started, like, or when they were going to initially shut it down? What year in high school was she?
I think she was like a freshman,
Shit.
because this like went on for years.
Wow.
And that was the only route. It was take her to school, pick her up, bring her back home. And then after she graduated senior year, after her last class, then they shut it down completely. And then that was the end of that railway.
Oh my God. You would think that they would have, like, that's a big deal to keep an entire train open.
whole
And there wasn't
railway.
like a bus or like some other form of transportation.
This is
that
so
could have-
rural. Like, that's all that there is.
Wow.
So you
And obviously
have,
she didn't have any siblings that would have needed it after her.
Right,
Or maybe
she was
they
just
were
the
before her.
one,
Maybe she,
yeah.
okay.
and so it stayed open for her for X amount of years.
Oh my God.
So you have to have like a train conductor. So you're paying the salary for them
Right.
to pick up, drop off.
Right.
So Japan was commended for, one, their No Child Left Behind.
Literally.
attitude. Yeah.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
But then also how they like prioritized education.
Yeah.
For no matter like for how
We'll
many
get you there.
students it was, or no matter where the area is, education is important, and yeah, no child left behind.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool.
Well, yeah. So the conductor, then obviously there's
Maintenance, yeah.
that goes into that train. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. And
For
did
one
like
student.
taxpayers? How was
That I don't
funded?
know. That I don't know. Like where the money was coming from to
I would
pay
feel
for that.
I would feel good about that.
Yeah,
you
my
know.
tax dollars are
Right.
Going
We pay
towards
for far
something worthy.
shittier things now.
yeah. It's a whole nother episode.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's all that I have.
I have one more. I did not have a title for this one, and it's a dog story because I'm like,
Let's hear it.
gotta throw in a dog story. Okay. Oh wait, no, I did. I forgot. I did. Let's hear it for the dogs. That's what it is. So this is Sergeant Stubby, the most decorated war dog of World War I.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so while there are other dogs that serve the countries, he is the one that holds the distinction of being the only dog nominated for rank and then promoted to sergeant through combat, this dog. And I'll send you these pictures if you want to post this episode
Yeah.
because it's a little Boston Terrier. It's not even like a big...
What? I'm thinking German Shepherd in my mind.
No.
What? A
When I
Boston
looked this
Terrier?
up and I saw the picture, I had to because when you initially look for like a Google image, sometimes
Yeah.
you get something wonky
Random.
first. So let me look a couple pages and search a couple different to make sure I'm
Let's see
getting
what's
the
on
right
page
dog.
2.
This
Yeah.
could not be the dog. So he started as like a normal civilized dog. living near Yale University in 1917. And then when the members of the 102nd Infantry trained on the university grounds, a corporal by the name of James Robert Conroy became fond of the dog. And when it was time to ship off to France, he hid Stubby in his overcoat because he was just a little dog.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah.
Well, you said Boston Terrier?
I think it was a Boston Terrier, yeah. But yeah, so just put him in his overcoat. So in total, Stubby participated in 4 offenses and 17 battles on the Western Front over the course of 18 months.
So he was like on the field with it? Like, yeah. But in the coat pocket? Or what?
Well, no. That's just how they got him over to France. Once he was France, once they were in France, he could run around. Yeah, he was good. Because he helped like find wounded soldiers. I mean, because they could give them, dog's ability to sniff, to go find.
Which I've never seen a Boston Terrier do that, though. That's where I'm picturing a German Shepherd.
Yeah, no.
Like an
he's
actual
definitely a little guy. Yeah. But yeah, so he overcame multiple injuries to help protect his allies from enemies, helped locate missing soldiers, and alert fellow troops to duck for cover when he heard the whine of incoming artillery. Thank you, shells. Yeah, and then he wore. This gets cuter. He wore a specifically designed mask to protect him from mustard gas. I mean, they had to protect the dog from that too. I'm sure he had goggles at some point, the whole bit.
I hope they put him in some camo also.
Yeah. He has like a little war jacket that looks like it has when somebody gets like the their medals that they put on their. He has those like on his little coat.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like on the field, like get him like a bulletproof vest or something.
Sure hope the hell he had one. Yeah. And then it says that some soldiers even claim that he captured a German soldier by refusing to let go of his pants until fellow soldiers found him.
Get out.
Yeah, I know. So hero dog. I was like, I gotta throw in a dog story, and that was the cutest one that I found. So Sergeant Stubby for the win in World War I.
Stubby.
Yeah, and I'll send you the pic too, so you can post it.
Yeah, please do.
He was also presented with a gold medal from the Humane Education Society, and even became the team mascot of the Georgetown Hoyas football team.
That's iconic. I'm looking at pictures now. It's just so precious. Oh, him with all his little medals.
Sweet little dog.
I love it.
Yeah, I was shocked that he was able to hold a soldier
That's what I'm trying to picture. Is like.
I mean, with any sort of shoe or boot. I mean, I would not have condoned it one bit, but like a grown man could have just kicked him off of him.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm wondering, what condition was the man? How was he holding?
That's true. He might have been injured. It didn't say. Like that soldier could have been slightly injured too, and the dog just enough pull.
But then also, like you've had like those little rat dogs like come at your ankles, and like they're really scrappy.
That is true. Yeah.
So maybe it was just scrappy.
Yeah. And some people are scared of small dogs too. Yeah. So a number of things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Very cool.
Stubby.
Do you have a weekly wow or a weekly?
I did not. I did not come up with a weekly wow. No, I didn't want to steal your thunder with that.
Oh, well,
that's your jam.
We usually pass it off to the guests because they usually.
Also, well, shit. Well, I'm not prepared.
Well, that's all right. I also didn't tell you about it beforehand or ask you, like, by the way. But I think, in honor of this episode and how we were talking about how, like, you just don't see those random acts of kindness anymore that would challenge you to, like, this upcoming week, just do like something small, nice and kind for someone.
Love it.
Whether it's, putting the plates for the server or opening up a door or making a pound cake and giving it to someone, just one random act of kindness.
Yes.
I would challenge you to.
I love that. Yes, because a small act for somebody could change their entire day.
Yeah. And then you feel good about yourself too.
Absolutely.
Like I wouldn't do it for the selfish reason of like to feel better, like actually do it because you genuinely want to like help that person, but then you will feel better about yourself as well.
Yes.
And then I think it becomes, once you do it once and then you see how they react, and it's very easy to do it again. Like it
Right.
becomes like contagious, or then they'll feel like they'll want to pass it off, you know? So
Yes.
then like, oh, someone did something nice to me. I'm in a
Yes.
better mood. I'm going to go do something nice. And
Yes.
it, you know, trickle effect.
Right. God, wouldn't that be amazing? It just starts, it only
And
has
you just-
one person.
And you
Starts
see
with
like the
one
whole
person.
planet just be like nice. Yeah.
Yes.
Would be cool.
All from Fortuitous.
Yeah. It would be fortuitous if that happened. Yeah, would be cool. Well, thank you, Emily.
You're welcome. It's been fun.
It has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.